All right, folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're here in my third investment property that I bought in the last 3 years here in the Austin area, as it seems that I cannot get enough of the state of Texas. And what I want to do today is break down how I was able to purchase this property for $0 down and basically make money at the closing table, actually. I also want to touch on my plans in terms of my investing portfolio, if you want to call it that, and sort of my investing strategy in terms of diversifying money across different asset classes. So that being, of course, real estate, which you guys don't see a ton of on my channel because it's just stuff that I need to do in the background, but also other things, including equities and other alternative asset classes. And so, of course, I want to give you guys my plan for that, as well as my plan for the house, because this is a little bit of a different investment that, than I've made in the past, in terms of my first rental property being a standard 30-year fixed, 20% down, conventional loan. And as you guys know, I recently came back from a deployment which entitled me now to utilize the VA loan, which, as you might have guessed, is why I'm able to buy this house for $0 down and maximize on that benefit and utilize it to do investment things with this house that I'm going to be living in. There are certain reasons also that I purchased this house that make it a little bit unique from my first rental property, as well as, of course, my second investment property, which was my condo flip in San Francisco. If you guys remember that, or if you're a close friend of mine, you remember the headache that was and the blood pressure that raised, which I don't have anymore because I spent my deployment paying off the loans for that condo. But that is water under the bridge, so to speak. So the third thing I want to touch on is, not something I want to touch on, is actually I'll give you guys a house tour if I have some time at the end of this video before I have to go to the gym, because I don't skip the gym to make YouTube videos. So first off, what have I been up to for the last few months since I haven't made a video? I feel like I should give you guys a little bit of an update. So since I came back from deployment, a lot of things have changed in terms of me being a lot more busy at work. So I haven't had time to actually make a ton of YouTube videos. For those of you guys that are new here or that don't know me, I work at IBM as a product manager. Fortunately, that's fully remote right now. I also live in the Austin area, so if I have to go to the office, it is in Austin in the Domain. And I'm also an Army Reserve officer, and I've transferred over to civil affairs now, actually. So I was an MP at 31 Alpha, which, if you guys have seen that past video, you might know that. But I've since transferred over to civil affairs, so I'm planning on going to the civil affairs qualification course for the reserve side of things to then be a CA team leader here in the next year or two. Since I came back, I also moved to Hawaii initially with the intent of buying a property there and doing a house hacky sort of thing, because the only way that I would be able to afford living in Hawaii, which I absolutely love, and almost anybody that's been there would probably say the same, would be to get roommates for buying a house and then renting out some of the rooms I don't live in to have housemates, and helps offset the mortgage payments that way. Now, the problem with that is that I was not able to find a house within the budget and within the areas that I was actually considering living. I was considering, obviously, moving to the island of Oahu, and there's tons of different areas you can consider, but honestly, my favorite was East Honolulu. I didn't want to go live in Ewa Beach or on the North Shore, like somewhere like Mililani or something. Like, personally, I didn't think that that's the Hawaii experience I wanted to have if I was going to actually buy a house and want to live there kind of long term, right? So either way, I was able to work with a realtor over there to look at some houses, and we put in some offers, and unfortunately, some of them didn't work out. Also, it was not conducive of working at IBM or any company that has a lot of employees in the United States, because the time zone is so different. So I'd have to wake up at 3 for meetings, and that was very difficult to do. So I moved back from Hawaii and found this house after searching for a few weeks with my same realtor that I used to purchase my first home in the Austin area as well. And what I was looking for is specifically a home that had a separate kind of dwelling unit. So if you guys are familiar with, if you watch Bigger Pockets or any of this stuff on YouTube, certain areas where you can build an additional dwelling unit where you have basically like an apartment kind of situation on a property where there's a main house, or you can convert a detached garage. I was actually renting from a guy in Hawaii that converted his garage into an apartment. And so it had, everything you need for a standard apartment, but it was literally in his garage, and the size of a garage. So if you think about it as, oh, I'm living in a garage, then it's shitty, but it's really not so bad. I'm not gonna pay $4,000 a month for renting an apartment in Waikiki when I'm going to be working every day and can't really enjoy the amenities and stuff like that anyway. So that leads me to this house, which I found in the Austin area, which has what we're standing in right now is the upstairs of the garage. And for those of you guys that are my friends, you would know that this is living the Fast and Furious dream. This is it right here. So downstairs is a full 3-car garage, and the upstairs, which is finished, doesn't have a bathroom or a kitchen, which obviously that it needs in order to be a finished apartment. I can show you guys just really quick, do a quick spin around in this area. So if you see like the space is 800 square feet because again, it's the length and kind of width of a 3-car garage. The only issue is the kind of roof line that it follows. And so it's kind of hard to, you can't put a fridge or build a shower kind of along that. But I've been I've been dealing with tons of different contractors on the phone trying to find a good fit for making this project happen. And I'll show you guys the architectural drawing that, so to speak, that I put together about how this is going to be finished out, and I'm super excited for the end product. That's why this video isn't going to be an entire house tour, because it's not done, and this is not really what it's going to be, because there's going to be a bathroom, and this is going to look a lot different. But I'm pretty excited for the project. I think it'll turn the space into something that's livable, and also we'll add a bathroom, which permitting here in the state of Texas, or well, at least where I live here in the Austin area, not in Austin, compared to the condo flip in San Francisco, doing permitting for that and dealing with the HOA, it's literally night and day. That being said, of course, building a bathroom or building this into an apartment, into a livable space, also adds square footage to the livable space of the house on tax record, as well as the bathroom going to be on tax record. And so inherently that's forced value that I'm putting into, like forced appreciation, as some people call it, in terms of building something on your property that's going to increase its value, okay? So I didn't purchase this as like a BRRRR type investment, which is like a buy, rehab, refinance type of situation, because it's not a house that's in bad shape. I don't think I'm seasoned enough as a real estate investor, if you want to call it that, to take on a major project that needs that serious level of work. Also because those houses you can't find on the MLS. And I have a day job, so I can't be searching for houses, just driving around neighborhoods in my free time. But that being said, the opportunity to build, again, that forced appreciation in this house versus buying something in Hawaii where that opportunity might not be present because it's a townhouse or like a condo or something like that, makes it a lot more sense for me right now, especially because I think time is ticking, and I want to live my Fast and Furious dream, which is to live in a garage, well, above a garage, and have a garage below so I can walk downstairs every morning and look at my cars, which I don't really have that many of right now because I've sold them in order to afford buying a house again. But again, long-term goal. So that is to have bought a house about every year, every 2 years. If I hadn't bought that condo, that was a huge disaster. I'd probably be on my 3rd or 4th house right now, depending on how my brain is working with these real estate investments. But again, use the VA loan for this, which the requirement is, I believe, 90 days active duty consecutively for reservists. And because I'm a reserve officer, that's the eligibility requirement that I have to meet. And basically, if you go on any deployment, which is longer than 9 months, like 9 to 12 months, you'll be fine. And so I used the VA loan for this, did 0% down. So I guess for the first part of this video, what I want to dial in is that when you're looking for an investment property in terms of wanting to do a house hack or something like that, where you can actually live in your investment property and be able to rent out the other rooms or spaces to tenants, I think finding something that has that opportunity to build, forced appreciation, like building a bathroom or finishing out a detached garage, is the perfect situation. Now, granted, depending on where you live in the United States, or if you live, overseas or something, there may not be detached garages where you live. In Texas, in certain parts of Texas, this is a lot more common. Like where I'm from in the Northern Virginia area, there there are not as many detached garages, and I'm sure Fairfax County is not keen to, letting everybody build, an apartment above their garage. Because that's not really the type of area. But if you work with a realtor as well as a loan officer that understands your goals for what you're trying to do in terms of it being a primary residence, but also it being kind of a longer term investment type of thing, they're not gonna find you a house that's just a cookie cutter, 3-bed, 2-bath, where it's very difficult to do a house hack, which that's what I ended up doing for my first house in the last, however many years that I've been living in it since college. I've been living kind of this college experience still because I had to share a bathroom. I lived in the smallest room in order for me to be able to cover most of the mortgage payment with, the rents that I'm collecting from my housemates, which are, basically my tenants, and have those lease agreements for that. But again, that's the sacrifice you have to make if you want to be able to continue to save money and snowball, the wealth or whatever people like to say. And to me, it's like, if I'm going to want to collect, all these 10 houses or 20 houses or whatever over time, that requires me to not be living in my own residence or renting an apartment that's costing me, 40% of my income every month. So with the second part of this, I did want to touch on just my plans for the house, as well as kind of the investing portfolio sort of plans for this year, my investing strategy. And so over the course of deployment, it was great because I was able to save a lot of money. So for those of you guys that watched my other video about balancing the reserve and, the reserves and a civilian job, I think deployments in the reserves are, the biggest bang for your buck possible in terms of a type of job or work assignment where you literally have all your expenses paid for, like everything back home. You're getting BAH downrange, you may be getting hazard duty pay, like IDP. Depending on, where you go on deployment, you can get other benefits as well. And so I was able to save up a decent chunk of money during the deployment, which is how I got the equity to, be able to work on the projects that I'm about to take on for this house, and basically pouring all that money into, building this out to be, finished the way that I like it before I start renting it out. The way it sits right now, I don't have this endless supply of money, and so my Robinhood is looking a little light because I've had to transfer a lot of my brokerage cash into utilizing those funds, both, I didn't have to use them for closing, but to, buy a truck when I came back, and then using it for the projects that I'm gonna take on with this house. And so normally what I like to do is keep at least 50% of my total brokerage in cash, also because Robinhood still has, I think it was 5.25% for a little while if you deposited a certain amount of money, but I think it's still at 5% as of the making of this video. And that, is pretty good. And so it beats, a traditional savings account, and it's way better than having your money locked up in a CD or something like that. And so having the cash reserves, I think, is important, but I can justify the use of certain cash reserves in order to, put that into equity that I'm getting in something like a property, like real estate, which is a much lower risk investment than buying something like crypto or something like that. That being said, last year when I was on deployment with some of my buddies that are a little bit more keen to, investing in equities and in crypto and things like that, I pretty much have 2 or 3x'd all of the different crypto positions that I purchased, last year around this time. And so if I did want to sell them, it would at least be calculated as long-term capital gains tax, which, mind you, I also had to pay $11,000 this year to the IRS in my tax returns. So that's also like a public knowledge kind of thing. But it's insane that every year I never get any money back on my tax returns. I'm literally always paying the IRS. So now going back to the plans for this specifically building in this property, the total cost of the project right now is estimated to be about $30,000, which includes the plumbing, trenching the line from the septic tank, because this house is on septic because it's a little over an acre, and getting the water and plumbing and hot water tank and everything to this building. Alone, the plumbing I think is like 12,000, give or take. If you consider the margin between what it costs to actually do this project, which we'll just call it like 30,000, versus the forced appreciation you're getting in the property, which is going to be more than 30,000 if you consider that this is going from as a 4-bed 2-bath to being a 4-bed 3-bath with added square footage, because this is now livable space that's literally on tax record. Because again, you want to do everything that's permitted, so that way you're not down the road having to figure out how to get permits or pulling permits for work you did 10 years ago type of thing. If this increases the value by 60,000, then my equity just went up 30,000 by just doing this project. So it's like a no-brainer if that's type of thing you're trying to do. And again, when you have something like a detached garage, it's great because you can do that sort of thing. And then you can live your Fast and Furious dreams because your cars are downstairs and you live upstairs. And I'm pretty excited for that. So I think I've yapped enough in this video. There's probably things I didn't touch on that I want to talk about in a later video when I talk about when this thing is done, and I can tell you guys how much it actually costs to do it, and if I want to refinance at a certain point. But what I want to do now is give you guys a quick tour of here downstairs, and then a little bit of the main house just to show you like what it looks like, just so you guys have an idea of you know, my third investment property. And part of this is also just so I can keep track of what I've been up to, not what I've been up to, but just, you know, the investments and how I was thinking about things at the time, that maybe it can be helpful for you guys as well, that are looking into, you know, different real estate or different asset classes and things like that. I know you guys love my credit card content, it seems, and how to use your points and miles and stuff like that, but really on a day-to-day basis, I spend a lot more time, well, obviously working, but outside of work, you know, I'm not swiping my credit card all the time. And so in order to make use of, you know, putting my money in valuable assets that are actually going to generate income over the long term, that would be, you know, real estate is really where I've had to spend a decent chunk of time in learning about things, and then you know, sometimes learning the hard way. So let me flip this around to show you guys some stuff. Okay, we're gonna do this in 0.5 because I think it's a lot easier to see stuff because it is Texas and things are bigger, so it's gonna be harder to look if it's at 1x. So I'm gonna go downstairs and go to the front of the property actually, so I can show you guys, take it from the top, so I can show you guys what it looks like. So, ooh, what is that? Whose car is that? Some white? If you guys remember, I did ship her over here from Hawaii. So, a light jog. Okay, so front of the property. Going this way. Had to say hi to the neighbor. So this is an oak tree actually, which I think is very fitting because my name is Oak, if you guys didn't know. That is a deer running away. So that's the main house. And this is the detached garage. So I'll show you guys in here first. So once again, the detached garage situation, which this is going to be finished to, that's a 1-car stall, it's a 2-car. So this is a 3-car garage. Downstairs will be finished, but this is basically what this looks like. It's gonna be a hot water heater in there. If you take this door to go upstairs, like I said, you know, your car's here. You walk up the stairs. And you walk into what is going to be the apartment portion of, you know, this kind of house situation. So it's got a little deck, which is cool. And you know, I said it's over an acre, but the neighbors aren't like super far away or anything. This is not, I didn't have like a couple $1 million to spend on this house. Okay, so I'm a regular guy, have a regular job. And so this is what I could afford here in the state of Texas. That is, well, leading to the backyard. I think that's another oak tree. I'm gonna take the stairs down. I'm actually gonna turn this stuff off because I'm not gonna come back up here. Okay. So, car, once again. There's my truck, just like the Murph truck I had downrange. Oh, yup, what is that? I'm excited to put those on. New shoes for the Beamer. Okay, so you go in here. I'll be honest, the main house needs a lot more work because it's very old. But again, not everything's gonna be finished like this. So this is the kitchen. This is the dining room. Well, this is the breakfast nook. There are literally always deer out here. Hold on, let's see if you guys can spot them. There he is very good. Okay. Backyard, deck, all right. Living room. Again, everything is a little bit old, but you know, picked a nice carpet and a sofa for now, and you know, some lights and whatever else. This is the front door, which I never use because I just come through the garage. This is a dining room, but there's just nothing there right now. This is the other side of the house. So this is what I'm using as an office right now, but this is like bedroom number 1, I guess. I hardly even want to show this stuff because this is not going to look like this very soon. Bedroom number 2, gross. Another bathroom. This one is gross. Disgusting. And then this is this is almost the same size as the master, to be honest. It's a pretty big bedroom. It's got a nice walk-in closet too. Love that. Okay. Turn on all the lights in my house. Okay. Got an Ecobee thermostat. What else to show you guys? That's pretty much it, really. Not a whole lot else to see. Go in here, bedroom, closet, another bathroom. Yeah, these finishes aren't great, but you know, it is what it is. So, all right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this little update. I do plan on making a video about, once again, when everything's finished, both in the main house as well as in that detached garage. I'm pretty excited for it to be done. And I'll show you guys when it is done. See you guys in the next one.